Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us today for our coaching call. Today, we're talking about binge eating and losing weight. And I know this is something that comes up over and over again, but honestly, it is the struggle of, that is the struggle of why people are overweight because we eat more calories than what our body needs. And, sometimes that is, through triggers and binge eating. So I just thought it would be a good topic to cover tonight. And then, we haven't shared recently our calorie density chart, and I thought that would be good to share that and talk about that as well. How are you today, Kim?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm very good. How are you?
Doing well, doing well.
I'm excited about this topic because I think that it is the key to, I think anybody can lose weight, but it's losing the weight and then maintaining that. That's the key. That's what, I've always said I've lost 100 pounds multiple times in my life. And it's because I would lose the weight and then I would go back to my old way of eating and then you just gain it all back. And most of the time, plus more. So I'm excited about this topic because I think it's very relevant.
Well, and for you to say that too, that just sparked in me like the GLP-1 drug,
Yes.
these
Yes.
drugs. And I think that it's fine when you're on them. I don't know. I hear people do quite a bit of suffering when they're on them, but I'm sure others tolerate them well. But
Yeah.
what happens when you stop eating these? Because I mean, eating these, when you stop
Same
taking them
thing.
because you haven't learned a new way or the way to,
To
help your
maintain.
body
Yep.
maintain what you need. And
Yeah.
so what I hear about it is that people end up like gaining okay, so when you're on the drug, you lose quite a bit of muscle. Now, this is
Muscle.
just
Hmm.
from I'm not a doctor, but this is from the, experts that I've listened to
Right.
talk about it, like physicians. And they say, you do lose the weight, but you also lose a big part of that is your muscle
So
mass
it
that you're
is. Yeah.
losing. So that's why the scale is going down. And then you get off the drug, you don't have any training or coaching, and you go back to your old ways. Eventually, you do. If you do not
Yeah.
make the changes necessary, and they say what happens is then you gain back fat, you don't regain that muscle.
Right.
And, that's what's so critical for us as we age. I mean, we have to have our muscle mass, and
Yeah.
that's why we really promote people our age or any age really doing
Right.
resistance training because you want to go into your elder years with a strong core and body. So
Absolutely.
anyway, that's off top. That's off
and
topic, but that
that's
just
another
sparked
that's
that
another
in
call.
me. And
Well,
yes, and that would be a
and
good one.
and just on that real quick, I was talking to somebody the other day that actually works with gyms, and they say that GLP-1 drug is is searched more often than gym memberships because it's easier to take.
Quick fix.
It is a quick fix, but it's not, and so that's where we have kind of come into the picture of we're looking to rip off that band-aid. We're looking to fix it, fix it forever.
Right.
So anyway,
Yep.
go ahead. Sorry.
Yep. Okay. So obstacles are binge eating, and we definitely know that binge eating has a negative effect on our weight loss. So what would I need to move my hands have my hands going a lot. So how would we define binge eating? And we say that it's any kind of behavior where you are consistent in your diet and the way that you eat, and you have a behavior pattern that you think is good, considered good, good what you eat. But then that pattern's interrupted with a break in some way that you would consider negative behavior and you feel out of control. So let's say you eat one cookie. Would you define that as binge eating? No, not really. But if your one cookie cues or triggers you to eat the entire box of cookies, then yes, you are out of control and you don't have control over that situation. And most of the time, it is that we are overeating on heavily processed foods. Like I said, I don't, know anybody that binge eats on broccoli, but, that would probably be a better option. So for weight loss to occur, we know that there has to be a calorie deficit. So eating less calories than you burn, so you're forced to dip into those fat stores that you have stored on your body. So that's what we want to do by staying in a calorie deficit in order to have weight loss. So if we binge on that box of cookies, then that pushes us out of our calorie deficit. And in the sorry, in the long run, over time, it's an average of the calories that you're consuming. So let's say that throughout the week, I'm in a weight loss phase. So I'm going to keep my calories at, let's say, 1,300 calories per day, and which is still pretty low. But and I'm able to do that through the week. But then you know what? The weekend comes and I've been kind of struggling to stay in this 1,300. I've been hungry and I'm out with my friends and we're going out to eat and I'm kind of indulging in things that I don't need to be indulging in. And maybe I'm drinking a little alcohol too. And my calorie consumption is 5,000. Now, I've taken myself out of my calorie deficit and I have basically undone what I did through the week because it is calories consumed over time on average. So I think that's a very important part to know. You you must have systemic lifestyle change even after you're successful in your weight loss. Like in order to maintain what you've done, you have to make changes from what you're doing now.
Yes, and excuse me, if you work so hard during the week, and we work with a lot of people that have told us these same stories that we have experienced ourselves. You work so hard during the week and you're so proud and you're like, I'm going to reward myself. Well, overeating is never a reward. It's
Right.
just not. It may initially feel good, but then you feel you're full, your stomach is stretched, then you have guilt for what you've done, and then you're angry because you've blown the whole week of eating well. It's not a reward. The reward comes when you are in control of your food, and that's a habit, and it's hard to it's it's a struggle to learn, but it's a skill that will not let you down.
Right. And I had that horrible pattern or habit too, back many years ago. So, and that's how I would reward myself was with a food or something that I had been missing or wanting. But honestly, that's how we were raised.
Oh, that's what I was
Everything
going to
is
say. That was,
celebrated with
yep,
food.
yep,
And I finally learned, oh, I'm going to reward myself with a new lipstick or a new shirt or, something like that
yeah.
that didn't evolve or circle around food. So anyway, okay, so how are we going to lose weight? This may sound counterintuitive, but we're going to eat more food. What? Eat more food? Yes. So this is part of the problem. People make the mistake of totally depriving themselves because that's what you think dieting is, right?
That's
Deprivation.
what
Like
we were told.
you have to starve in order to
Yes.
see results. Not true. And we are living proof of that.
Hmm.
So, I mean, no way. That would not ever be sustainable to me over time. I mean, you can only willpower your way through for so long.
For
It's
so
not
long. That's right.
sustainable.
Yeah.
Yes. And when you deprive yourself and you're not eating food, that's usually is what sparks the binge because you can't take it anymore and then you cave or give in and then
Yeah.
you overindulge.
Yes.
So, and I can probably speak for both of us that we're guilty of these types of diets that, every fad diet that came on the market, we've tried it. Like, the Weight Watchers, the Atkins, the South Beach, all of those things, we've tried it. We had to come up with a life change, something that we could do forever. And this has been it. And it it's not sustainable to think you're going to starve or cut out carbs and not ever eat carbs again. Like it's just that's not, and your body needs carbs. So you have to change in order to break that crazy diet cycle. And we are living proof that it can be done. We are over a decade now with our combined 160 pounds down. And we've been doing it. Like I'm 11 plus years, you're 12 plus years, and it can be done. Okay. But with that said, we need to eat more. So what are we going to eat? We're going to eat whole food, plant-based foods. That's where it's at because they are on the high satiety index foods. So certain foods like potatoes are about 400 calories per pound versus a peanut butter or nut butter that's about 2,800 calories per pound.
But
Huge
it's so
difference.
good.
It is good, but you think about the
Yeah,
volume of potato versus the volume that you're going to get in that peanut butter. What's going to
yeah,
last you longer and keep you feeling full longer?
yeah.
You have to eat so much more of the peanut butter to feel satisfied and
Right.
full. It's just it so eating foods like potatoes and other high fiber foods are going to keep us feeling full for longer, and it's going to diminish the likelihood of us binging. And as we said, cravings are usually cued by hunger. So I do have one slide. Let's see if I can make this work.
Okay, while you're
Uh,
pulling that up, Kelly, you know, I didn't grow up at all eating vegetables at all. And so I really didn't eat much fruit either. And so it was a change for me. But I'm telling you that I eat more food than I've ever eaten in my life, and it's good food. It is great food. And you get full and you stay full, and it just takes the focus off of always wondering, because you're hungry, what can I have now? Well, if you're hungry, go grab a cup of berries or go grab some carrots or whatever, go grab some soup, some vegetable soup, because it all falls below that line, that red line that you see on the screen, and you can be full and still be using food that does not have a barcode on it, which that's kind of how I look at my stuff. Does it have to have a nutrition label? So,
right, right. Okay, so let's talk about this chart for just a minute, and then I want to hit on something that you said. So to the left, you see the calorie range per pound is 100 to 600. And any weight loss phase and maintenance phase, you want the majority of your food to come from that side of the chart. Now, are you going to eat things from the other side occasionally? Yes, you are. But they're not your go-to and everyday things that you're eating. So, we'll talk about, nuts and seeds and how they're healthy, but you can't overindulge in those. So on the left side are all of our non-starchy vegetables at 100 calories per pound. Fruit is about 300 calories per pound. And then in the 400 to 600 range, we have potatoes, whole grains, beans, and legumes. So these are high fiber, high water foods that will satisfy your nutrition needs and satisfy your satiety needs. On the other side, we have things like avocados, ice cream, bread, cheese, sugar. Now, are avocados whole food plant-based? Yes, they are, but they're very high in calories and high in fat. So it's okay to have some sometimes, but you don't want the majority of your diet, obviously, to come from avocados. Um, Kim, why don't you talk about how you handle, the nuts and seeds
okay.
and nut butters and tahini?
Yes. Okay. So when I am in a weight loss program, I do not use tahini. I just because it's a concentrated sesame seed that has been um, pulverized. It's been made into a butter. Same thing with a nut butter. For me, and that may be different for everybody, but for me, if I'm trying to lose weight, I cannot indulge in those things. And I have found that hummus tastes just as good without the tahini in it. So the tahini and oil, we don't use oil, but the nuts and seeds, I try to, if I have nuts and seeds, I have 1 ounce or less. And the way that I do that is I will put that, if I'm having oatmeal, I'll sprinkle that on my oatmeal. I'll put some pumpkin seeds on my salad. I can't eat nuts out of a bag because if I do, I will eat more than what 1 ounce is. So again, it's making sure that you're being kind to yourself, that you're preparing yourself for what your goals are. So that's how I handle the nuts and the seeds is I do eat them, but I don't eat more than 1 ounce a day, and I never eat them out of a bag. Do you want me to share the story about you and your almonds. Had gone to Kelly's house one day and she was like, "Hey, there's some almonds. Count out, I don't know, 13, 15, whatever, and put them in that bag for me." And I was like, "What?" And she said that's she was preparing her food for the next day and she would count the almonds. And so, but you know what? I learned a lesson from that because she was making sure that she was setting herself up for success. And I think that's a good lesson that we need to take care of ourselves. We need to be kind to our future self, and that's how we do that.
Well, I'm with you because that whole thing of eating out of the bag is just
Yeah.
a mindless eating thing for
Yes.
me. And I am
Yes.
guilty as guilty can be. I
Yeah.
will just, you do it without even realizing that you're doing it. And before
Right.
you know, half the bag is gone. And it's like, oh my gosh, how many calories did I just
Right.
consume?
Yes.
And also, you bring up a good point too. Kim and I do not use oil. Like, we
Yeah.
don't cook with oil or drink oil like some people do or anything like
Well,
that.
because
So,
if you look at the chart, Kelly, all oils are 4,000 calories per pound. Now, I don't see
not
anybody.
worth it.
Yeah, well, but people say, "Oh, I just drizzle a little," and
Hmm.
I don't know that I've ever seen anybody drizzle a little because we come from a household where a drizzle was probably, half cup, a cup.
Right.
So,
And if you
um,
watch the kitchen in a restaurant, I mean, it is
yes,
like gulp,
yes,
gulp, 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 gulp,
yeah,
gulp. So, yeah.
yeah.
And okay, so the last thing that I wanted to touch on, and it wasn't really planned, but I think it kind of goes along with this, is you have to give yourself grace and know that, you may be introduced to a lot of things that you're not accustomed to eating. Like Kim said, she said, I didn't really grow up eating fruit or veggies. I don't know what she was doing. I loved them. But,
Not me.
you know, so you have to adapt to that. And that's
Yes, and you
okay
do.
because well, I thought about you and I talking about tea earlier today, and you had said,
Yes,
"Oh, I said, oh, I started drinking a cup. I bought some lemon ginger tea, and I've been drinking that in the afternoon." And you said, "Oh, I bought this kind in that can," and I thought back to years ago, our conversation when we were trying to cut back on coffee, and we were like, "Oh, that we could not ever drink that horrible green tea or whatever. It's
right.
horrible. It tastes
Yes,
awful." And here we are today saying,
yeah,
"Oh, well, you should try this kind of tea or that kind of
yes.
tea." So
Yep. And
you do
green
change.
tea is good. Yeah, you do change, but you have to let yourself, and it's kind of like I like to use the analogy. So if your children or if you as a child started to walk and you fall and you just say, "Well, I'm obviously not meant to walk. I'll just sit here. I'll crawl or I'll scoot or I'll roll or what." We don't do that, but we seem to give ourselves that excuse when it comes to trying to change our lives because it's hard and it is hard, but it's the most worthwhile thing that you can do for yourself, for your family, for your health. It's
Yep.
worth it. So,
Yep.
I mean, we need to respect ourselves enough to make the change. And like I said, it's not easy. It's hard, but you fall forward. And when you fall forward, that means you're going to get back up and you're going to try it again. And if you don't like a food, then don't eat it. Find something else. Everybody always makes fun of my savory oats. Kelly says she's going to eat her medicine if she makes it. I love it, but I used to not, but I do now. So
Right.
you got to give yourself the grace to try new things and to like things and to not like things. It's okay.
Well, and they say even with a child, it takes a child 25 touches to a new like vegetable before they will participate in eating it. And that may
And we're
be,
worse. I
yeah,
think
I
adults
mean,
are
yes,
worse.
because we're set in our ways. And
Yes.
so and I like what you said about it is hard, but
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. It can be hard, but the reward is great
Yes.
because you not only gain confidence, gain the body that you want, gain your health back. I
Energy.
I can I was going to say energy. I'm telling you, when I ate the sad diet
Yeah.
by Friday, I was spent. Like I could not do anything else. And now I'm just like this bouncing ball off the wall with so much energy that, and I work out and I get my 10,000 steps and, do those daily. I sleep really well at night, but that's
Yeah.
another byproduct of eating this way because, I I have so much energy and I'm so active throughout the day. When it's time to go to bed, I'm ready to sleep.
You're right. Well, and the thing about that is that didn't happen to you overnight, right?
Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
something that you build up to. And I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and I'm like, I've been doing this for over a decade, and I'm still getting better. My body is still getting better, and that
Right.
is just a testament to how our bodies are designed. Our bodies want to take care of us, but we have to help. We have to be part of part of that process. So
Right. Okay. Well, I think this was a very productive call. I hope that it is helpful for someone. And if you watch and you have questions, please reach out. That's what we're here for. We're here to help you regain your health or regain or lose weight or whatever it is that you're trying to do. We've
yes,
been there, we've done it, and we want to help you. We want you to reach out and ask
yes.
questions. So I hope you all have a great night. Thank you so much, Kim.
Thanks, Kel.